We have with us Alvin Wesseh. Alvin Wesseh comes from the CDC. Alvin, welcome to the OK Conversation.
Well, thank you, Julius. I'm very much gleeful to be at your invite, and actually exasperated, particularly like you said on your social media handle, after many years, to have the opportunity to speak to our people through your medium.
Why do people call you Fidel, or why do you have the handle Fidel?
Yeah, so when I was an active student leader at the State University, particularly universal barrier into student militancy and student advocacy, everyone who participates in students' politics has a particular nomenclature or an ADO. So I took keen interest in the Cuban Revolution.
That comes from Fidel Castro.
The Fidel Castro that led to the detriment of Augusto Batista, and Fidel Castro played a significant role with Comrade Ernesto Che Guevara in the 26th of July movement, 1959, in Oslo. Austin, the U.S.-backed dictator Augusto Batista at the time in Cuba. So, replicating such a revolutionary adventure on the campuses of the State University, my peers at the time and students.
Did you overthrow anybody, or did you participate in the detriment of any leadership at UL?
Well, yeah. I mean, literally, detriment can be construed as somebody who can dethrone people ideologically using the constructivist or method or methodology. Projecting new ideas, new philosophy, and new constructs is philosophically can be construed as detriment. And we've gone to establish others as anti-establishmentarians, people who go against some basic norms at the university. So literally yes, figuratively yes, we've dethroned people who tend to circumvent some of our interests and undermine the growth of the student movement at the time. Yeah. So, but in terms of
So what is one of those constructivist paradigms that you can say, yeah, this is the kind of ideology that we ourselves ensured that we brought it to pass, and not just received something from people who were instructors or authorities on campus and all that? What is one thing you can boast about? Yeah,
so basically, when you go back to the State University, there were three philosophical constructs and posits at the university level. We have pragmatism, student pragmatism, and of the student integration movement. We have the massive crassy, which is what we call from the Student Unification Party now. Then historical gradualism from the Student Democratic Alliance, which is TUDA. After my expulsion, arbitrary expulsion, we led a lot of positive resistance on the campuses of the Bureau and gave birth to a new movement on the university campus in consultation with the students at the State University at the time. So we introduced and breathed breath another ideological, philosophical postulate, which is called egalitarianism, that has given birth to PROSA, Progressive Student Alliance of the State University. So aside from that, in terms of our perspective on issues about student activism, we also give birth to constructive engagement using intellectual power, firepower, intellectualism, rather than the muscular and the acrobatic form where students have to go to throw stones and maybe try to use unconventional means to
and didn't you get involved in that?
most times we use the intellectual medium. That was the only aqueduct, the only wavelength we used to communicate our perspectives.
But then why were you suspended then or expelled?
Yeah, it was a grand conspiracy being inaugurated by elements of the reactionary forces who were particularly jittery about our stance and growing militancy, particularly using our voice at the time to advocate for the broader student masses. You know very well there was a time in this country where the university, under Dr. Emmett Dennis the late, attempted to increase tuition from $175 to $4 BS, which was counterproductive and diametrically opposed to the academic interests of the vast majority of the university students. And as student leaders, we were obliged to say that this is a state-run university, and as such, it is incumbent upon the state to provide basic financial support and not to impose harsh academic fees and tuitions on the jobless and economically disenfranchised and dispossessed students at the State University. So when we resisted that by the broad-based mobilization of the students from Fender to main campuses, the people who were at the time at the helm of leadership in the administration then conspired with the then president Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, the former president Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, that you get the ball out of that place because the ball is causing, in our opinion, causing problems. You know, that was not problem. We were resisting laws that were anti-pedagogical. We were resisting laws that were anti-masses, anti-student driven. We were resisting laws that were detrimental to the survivability of the student masses. And so that expulsion, everybody knows. And you were in the media, you stay here, that it was a grand conspiracy being orchestrated by the last daughter of the Chewy party, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, to take me out of university. And I have no regret for that. That is part of the revolutionary endeavor. The Nelson Mandela have to be expelled from in 1951. You know the history. From the University of Fort Hare, when he led resistance against apartheid education. Steve Biko from the University of Natadu have to be expelled as well when he stood against the educational system of apartheid in South Africa. And so people before my advent into progressive actions and progressive politics were expelled. And so expulsion is part of the prices, is part of the dues that we pay on the auto of political convenience.
His name is Alvin Wesseh. This is the OK Conversation on OKFM 99.5. We have other media entities who are here who've taken interest in carrying live this broadcast. Let us come to your time as Assistant Agricultural Minister. How did you get the job? Is it something that you wanted, or something that the leader said, okay, Alvin, you can go there since you were reading agriculture at the university?
Well, the power to appoint and to dismiss wholly and solely rests on the shoulder of the man who has the presidential power, the president of the Republic bearer. And so whenever such an opportunity is being afforded me as a Liberian citizen, while I decided to take to that because at the time it was sacrosanct, it was genuine to come in public service, in public governance, to be able to leverage some of the expertise, some of the education we've learned theoretically to synchronize it, do a practical process.
There are those who argue then that you were not fit for that job, given what is required, especially the extension services, the kind of knowledge, the kind of erudition that one would need to have to take on such a post. Where do you fall on that?
These are some of the mischievous and incredulous propaganda, lies, deceits being distributed by forces who were opposed to our, national persuasion in terms of politics and everything.
No, but hold on. Let us advance a little bit more on that.
Yeah.
One will need experience. A whole lot of people holding that post were other people with masters or PhDs and all of that.
Yeah.
And so you coming in, you had not at that time graduated from the university yet. You had not served at the Ministry of Agriculture yet, and I don't think you had the experience in agriculture at the time. So it was almost like a learning curve for you, rather than you having the ability to actually display what you knew, isn't it?
Yeah. So at the before my expulsion, I already have a few semesters. I've done extension. If you read agriculture, you can ask any students at the university. Extension is part of the curriculum. A part of the curriculum of the agriculture college. We've read extension extensively, and we have different. Now, when it comes to the argument about qualification, even as I speak to you, Julius, as I speak to you, the current assistant minister for extension and research development is not a master's degree holder or PhD holder. That was the pathological lie that they told in the public that place was for scientists. No, and what people tend to do was to misconstrue the role of Carrie to that of the role I play, or to that position as assistant minister. That position is a policy position, it's not a technical position, because we have technical director there, which is the director for extension. Then under the director of extension, we have the county agricultural coordinators. These are technicians who are specialized in particular subject matters. Then beneath that, you have the district agricultural officers. So it is a policy position, and with the level of appreciation that I've taken from the university, particularly reading extension at the highest level at the State University, Department of Agriculture and Forestry, I have that appreciation in the fee. And basically, when we talk about extension delivery service, it's merely, is primarily about communicating new discoveries, new ideas, new methodologies from the research center. That art of taking message and taking communication from the research center to the farmers. And who does the research? Central Agricultural Research Institute, CARI. That's why it is semi-autonomous. It is there to independently look at research matters.
So will you say that you did well in that role? Did you succeed? Are there things you can point to, 2 or 3, to say, okay, during my time, this is what we achieved?
So generally, I do not like to pontificate and maybe ostentate in terms of add this date or to personalize. I hate to, because I like to look at the collective progress that we've made as a ministry vis-a-vis as a government, rather than one saying, because
you part of that progress. Yeah. So we are all at OKFM,
right,
and we are succeeding as OKFM.
Yeah.
But as one who runs the OK conversation, which will also be a part of the success, people will know because of Julius, this other aspect did well. Because of Trocon, the newsroom did well. Because of Clarence, the OK Money Rush. So you have your area of success in the whole. Can you point to some of those?
So when it comes to extension delivery service under our administration, particularly as Assistant Minister for Extension and the research delivery services, we work with farmers. Particularly, the first thing is that the proper agenda for prosperity and development, I think Pillar 2, if I'm not really mistaken, is aligned with what we're doing at the Ministry of Agriculture. And the agriculture ministry, under the then leadership, had a 5-year plan, which is called the Labour Agriculture Sector Investment Plan, called LAPSI. We have the previous time, one on the President Ellen and Joseph Newman Bwaka was LAPSI 1. We met LAPSI 1 there, and we validated, LAPSI 1 into LAPSI 2, which is the Labour Agriculture Sector Investment Plan. That plan guided us on issues about extension, capacity building, providing microfinance and everything that has to do with grants to farmers. And also, we empower farmers through our different projects. We talk about extension, we talk about giving agro implement or agro materials to farmers to enhance their productive capacity. So a part of our work was to do distribution of different agro input supply across 15 sub-political divisions with respect to our farmers in each county of concentration. So for example, Nimba County had a CAC, which is the county agriculture coordinator. So we call him the agriculture minister there. So he is superintends and supervises all of agriculture related activities. The same applies with Grand Gide, Lofa. So all these people gave a comprehensive report to the Department of Extension on the activities and progress being made across the 15 sub-political divisions, particularly in agricultural districts. So our role was visible. Go and check different pages on my newspapers, on my Facebook handle. We were always in the field giving reports. We were always in the field distributing agro materials, input supplies to farmers. At the same time, we were checking on productivity in the sector. So in terms of what we did personally, the records show clearly that we were very active. Because with the kind of energy that I have, I used to go as far as Lofa. I used to go to Maryland. I used to go to Bapolu to check on productivity, to check on farmers, which new methodology, which new concept of farming is being utilized, and how they can adapt to new methodologies in terms of living from subsistence farming to market-based farming or commercial farming. And part of our responsibility when we were there as young person, my recommendation was to leave this antiquated farming activity and try to look at agro business as a conduit to investing into what is termed as the productive capacity of our farmers, and at the same time because farming in itself is both capital and labor intensive.
Do you really have passion for agriculture?
Very much, like Amilcar Cabral,
as compared to politics, which is higher?
So Amilcar Cabral of Guinea-Bissau was an agriculturist. If a politician does not understand the poverty, the pains, the agonies, and the anguish of the people, then so to be a politician is to understand that the people need to eat. The people need to live. So, in terms of,
I'll be right to think that you're more passionate about politics than agriculture.
No, because I respect both disciplines because they are consanguineous. They work in consanguinity. Okay. If you here, if you don't eat, it's almost like you asking. Let me send the question back to you. If I ask you, do you prefer journalism to agriculture? The question is that how do you do journalism if you don't have food to eat, right? So both fees.
Others can be interested in making agriculture realizable, and I can make money out of journalism and buy agricultural products that are produced by other people. It is not my passion. My passion is journalism.
Yeah. So at the assistant ministerial level, not much has been covered in terms of my broader responsibility.
That's not what I'm saying. Yeah. Does agriculture excite you as much as politics?
Very much, Julius.
So apart from being an assistant minister for agriculture, do you have any agricultural venture that you're into?
Of course, Julius. If you were to go to see some of the interventions that I made, personally, it will actually surprise you.
Where?
For example, in the Grand Gide, for example, we have some activities there for young people that we organize through agricultural corporation, right? And Nimba, for example, with the help of our CAC there, we have some ventures.
No. I was saying like Alvin Wesseh himself as someone who is an aficionado of agriculture, who is that kind of person into it. Do you have something doing for yourself in agriculture?
That's what I said. Personally. basically our role in terms of personal, personally, we were concentrating personally on how we can provide food sufficiency to farmers and provide.
No, that is not what I'm saying. I'm saying outside your official role, like Alvin has a farm, has a garden, has something.
Yeah, so I have a mini garden. I have a mini garden.
Mini garden.
Yeah, mini garden.
That means that's something. It's just a behind the house thing.
So let's get it straight here.
Yeah.
What do you want? You have a statutory responsibility to empower farmers to provide microfinance and macro credit facility. Hold on.
It is almost 2 years since you left that role. It's almost 2 years. You have not been assistant agriculture minister. Do you have something doing in agriculture? That's what I'm asking. I
just told you yes.
That you have a mini garden.
I just told you yes, but it is not on the large scale as you anticipating me to answer such question. That's not on the large scale because I have other obligation and responsibilities.
I like your honesty.
Yes,
I like your honesty.
So that's
what do you have planted there?
I mean, of course, you guys, the smaller or stuff there, potato greens. You have bitter ball pepper. Those, I mean, meaning garden, right?
It's good.
Yeah. So
can you give us a visual size of the garden?
Yeah, that's all mini size backyard garden.
Okay.
The reason here is you don't want to go into public service to do exportation like the way it happened during the 80s or the 1970s when Florence changed, and that's the kind of a mentality.
But hold on. Are you considering going big?
Let me just learn on this.
We have to move to the other
so let me just conclude on this. If you are charged with the statutory function and responsibility as assistant minister for agriculture, your role is not to go open your own farm.
I got the question. It is not just about getting the question. It's about understanding my point. Hold on, Alvin. So I started off with your passion, trying to analyze what your biggest passion is. And we talked about agriculture and politics.
Right.
And you say you are equally passionate about agriculture as you are about politics, right?
True.
And that's where I brought in the question. Do you have something personally doing in agriculture? Not necessarily because you were assistant minister, but as a student of agriculture and as someone who remains passionate about agriculture. I wanted to see how invested you are in that outside of officialdom.
Yeah, so like I said to you, that I am not doing that on a large scale because I have other activities. And I also intimated here that I'm engaged in a very low scale store, which is backyard garden. Outside of being assistant minister, because I have been.
And do you intend to go big?
Well, if I have the requisite finance and the requisite capital, I can go big because I believe that the soil is a deposit. Okay. And when you deposit in the soil, you can rest assured to have some of the return in terms of the investment within the soil. So I intend to go big, but I just wanted to make this point, Julia, before you go to the next stop. Many people go to public office using resources that belonging to the ordinary people to carry on exportation. Throughout my stewardship at that ministry was not to, I had no intention at the time to go there and open my own farms instead of providing the enabling environment for our farmers to have opportunity and share responsibility in terms of expanding their productive capacity. So I am not one of those individuals who went to government to steal materials belonging to farmers, to take finances belonging to farmers and open your own farm, big farm, and people be asking you questions about what is the source of finance in terms of this stuff. So yes, that's a brilliant question. But again, with my stewardship, I believe that with the requisite finances and capital, I can do more in terms of investing. But for now, I have a backyard garden and I wish to expand that as time goes back.
Okay, good. Now, let's come to politics. Your Congress for Democratic Change ousted from power almost 2 years ago. Do you think there were things that you people could have done better in hindsight that perhaps would have maintained you in power? Is there any regret?
Yeah, I think in terms of what we brought to the Liberian people when it comes to our mandate, the proper agenda for prosperity and development, we were clear with our vision, how we intended to govern the country for over the 6 years under His Excellency President George Mann, the former president of the country. Our vision was clear, and we never deviated. We were very well intentioned about developments on the issues of rule of law. We're very intentional on agriculture. We're very intentional on education, on road infrastructure, market infrastructure, infrastructure, and also ensuring that we develop the country as per the terms and conditions of our proper agenda for prosperity and development. What we did not do on our 6 years period is to properly communicate our successes, to inform the Liberian people, tell our own stories, both national and international, with respect to the successes, the gains, and the level of achievements that His Excellency has made under his 6 years period of governance. And we allow the opposition to exploit the airwave, to exploit that aspect of not telling our own stories.
Sometimes people argue that if you do good, you really don't need to overemphasize it. People will feel it. People will know it.
But at times people can use situation to also misinform people. So we did not do well in terms of there are a lot of good things we did, but we did not do well in terms of communicating those things. It was important because they were in propaganda. Don't forget, we know how that propaganda machinery, the lands that the party used, for example, to come after the CDC. There were opinionated falsehoods. There were dis and misinformation about 16 billion. Of course, you read the Crow report, and there were different mischievous lies, incredulous lies that have been permeating the corridors of the political atmosphere about the Jowia's administration on issues about governance, corruption, and everything. But in terms of debunking those lies, we know came strong. We know went far to counter the lies, to provide counter propaganda in terms of replacing lies with substance, replacing lies with truth, and replacing lies with the facts and evidence based on the stewardship that we've been able to inaugurate on our 6 years. So we've done a lot more of things for example, in the educational system. We declare free tuition and WASH policy. We allow students who serve for examinations to go to classes so that they get prepared for national examinations. We build roads, some of the feeder roads that you see in Monserrato and its environs. We stress some of the roads in this country. We built hospitals during our time of governance. The hospital, the Baburu, Emory Hospital, the 14 Medical Hospital. We also built proper housing units across the country. You know about that, right? So those are things that we needed to have communicated properly, to have articulated with everything, so that
so sometimes it's not about for example, the two presidents, the former president and the current president, live in the same community, and a whole lot of those roads in that community were paved, so people were there, people saw it. I think during that time electricity went there, but the current president still beat him in that area. So it may not just be about development and not communicating, because in this case, in the very place that both of them live, people saw what happened there under his stewardship, right? But others thought it was about him too. This disposition as president, some of the things, the different reports that are coming out of the presidency, allegations of corruption, the social life, and all those kinds of stuff. Don't you think they were also important in masterminding your defeat?
Well, most of the first thing, if you look at the defeat, there's a thin margin. That margin is thin, is infinitesimal in terms of what we call real-time legitimate defeat, in terms of overwhelming defeat, like we've done in 2017 general presidential elections, winning 14 counties. Technically, if you look at the current political infrastructure and architecture of Mr. Bouaka and President Bouaka and Jeremiah Kun, I don't see that real legitimacy in terms of the election results. So, what really masterminded our defeat was not our failure to adequately deliver on our promises, in terms of executing and discharging our manifesto or the proper agenda for prosperity and development. I think we missed out both on the international front to tell our own stories, to be able to do more and sufficient lobbying, where people take information, take names of officials, for example, and just try to fabricate stories that are not embedded in empiricism, stories that are not embedded in facts. And they use those things both on the national stage and at the local level. They use some of these propagandas to bamboozle our population, that is, technically a gullible one, into believing that we were failing because of some of the lines that they implemented in the media landscape, or some of the lines that they placed and distributed to the Liberian people. Today, if you were to look at what's happening now, the story has changed.
We are coming there.
Yeah, the story has changed.
Before we go there, I'd like to read this message. Maybe it will make you feel good. Good afternoon to the public and your guest, Fidel Castro. I'm a direct beneficiary of Alvin's sacrifice he made at the level of the University of Liberia years back. We stood in line at the engineer building just to do mail logging in at our department then, and he was one of the student forces that brought about the free tuition at the University of Liberia. If this free tuition fee wasn't in place, and workable people like us would still be at the university. Though some saw it as bad, but to a larger extent it benefited the vast majority of our university students. I personally am very grateful and will remain grateful forever. Alvin is an icon when it comes to the University of Liberia free tuition, now the national stage. He has always remained a fighter in whatever he does or wherever he finds himself. No wonder why many of us years back label him as Fidel Castro, and he continues to prove us right at all times. The University of Liberia prize are always people who lead and others follow. The loose internebri, light in darkness. Banoya Waters, a veteran of UL, says that. Does it make you smile?
I like to say whomever wrote that is in approbation, is confirming and reaffirming the work we did on the university campus. Not too many people would do that. Like I've always said, I would not blow my own trumpet. Julius, it was not an easy thing for an Alvin Wesseh to have gone through the turbulence and the wilderness of academia. A young man from Ivory Coast went to James O'Neill Assembly of God High School, privileged to have entered the University of Liberia, and my education was taken away by the last doctor of the Chewy party.
Why?
The last daughter.
Why do you call former president said the last daughter of the Chewy party?
She represents the old order, who distributed neo-colonial education on my generation. They went on the university campus. Look at how backward the university is, antiquated. See the kind of shame and disgrace, embarrassment. Where in the world you place students in the 21st century in such a horrible place called CPAV? Look at the different buildings. So this anti-pedagogical learning environment were so much appalling to us. They were
before we go to the next topic. Where did you get this love for wars, this prolificity? Where did you get it from?
Yeah, so I was a former child broadcaster on Army Radio. I participated in one of the programs, and part of the prerequisites and activities you have to read, you got to follow the news. At the time, we had Josephine Ogbodu, we had Precious Guano, we had Yede Allison, Eva Flo. Those were big names at the time, so I was privileged to have participated on that program. And then on the famous Star Radio, I was also, because my profession at the time, I wanted to be a journalist, so I was pursuing that. So reading newspapers and participating into these extra student curricular activities. So our privilege also on Star Radio with the likes of Sobo George, Mataya Dafa, Horatio Babu Willie the late, even the program director Marco Tool, the current PUR president Julius Kanumba, the guys. Those were big names that were there. When young people listening to radio, people reading and then following news, the news. And so I got inspired. Not only that, I was also quizzing and former president of my press club, and also a debate coach as well. So those things in terms of sesquipedalism are that things that are idiosyncratic of me. They are unique to me. Those are things that I'm acculturated to do. Those are things that I'm.
But journalism doesn't promote a whole lot of big word usage.
I'm not there in a fee now. So you're asking me, So
I am trying to X-ray where this passion for wars came from.
Yeah, so I just giving you a background. The next thing is, if I took keen interest in philosophy. If you read the epistemology, there's a course in philosophy that talks about epistemology, that talk about the study of knowledge and belief, right? And then you also have to understand, to be a good journalist, a professional one, you must know the beginning of words, the structure of words, because any misinterpretation has the propensity to either lead you into trouble or to cause problem. So there where I started to understand words, the forms of words, the uses of words, the contextual uses of words, which is called the etymology of words. So at the philosophical level, somebody who's growing into student activism, you can read philosophy. Well, the Plato philosophy, or the Aristotle, the René Descartes, the Baron de Montesquieu, Voltaire. You gotta read Jean-Jacques Rousseau and Thomas Hobbes, John Locke. Right? You gotta read Friedrich Nietzsche and Confucianism. You gotta read different philosophers like Socrates to understand. So the power of knowledge and belief and the power of idea, I got very much keen into this area. So as you read and dive into some of their postulates and some of their writings and philosophical constructs, you will come across different theories, different words that are necessary for intellectual, political, and scientific philosophical debates.
Let's come to the current administration. The president, a whole lot of officials and supporters of the government believe they're doing by far better than you did. They came to rescue the country from the grimy clutches that the CDC administration left it in. How do you think they've done? Let's hear your analysis of the government.
Well, the government, in terms of the rescue mission, was a very strategic plan opposed to the proper agenda for prosperity and development. That's what they sold to us during the campaign processes of the campaign period. When they came to power, they deviated from the rescue mission. They not only deviated from the rescue mission, but they went contrary, they went outside, and they began to orchestrate political manipulation against opponents. Went against their own policy, went against their own project in terms of the agenda, and they started to get deviated, moving towards opposition and targeting citizens of the country. So I would have expected on the first 100 days of the governance, on Mr. Bwaka, on President Bwaka and Jeremiah Kun, to go strictly to what you were campaigning to the Liberian people for. They said harmonization, for example, was bad. When they come to power, they would have prevented, they would have ceased or abrogated harmonization. They also argue that there was massive unemployment in the country. There was no investment in the country. So, upon coming to power, they were coming to answer the questions about how investments can be attractive to their governance system, and they were going to create employment opportunity for 20,000 young people. When they came to power, they said they were ensuring that roads, no car would have been no car will hitch in the mud, for example, or no car will be stuck in the mud. So roads across the country, all of the different roads, those deplorable roads that are causing serious problems across the country, they would have dealt with the issues of the roads. They also talk about education. They talk about how to invest in the health system and the health delivery sector across this country. We are yet to see clear, policy implementation of the rescue mission since the administration of President Bwaka and Jeremiah Kun have taken the helm of national leadership. On the contrary, what we've seen and what we have seen thus far and so far is the blatant disregard to the rule of law. Not only the blatant disregard to the rule of law, but the complete undermining of the democracy, the peace and security of our country, particularly looking at the legislative impasse as a case in point. You saw what happened when the whole country came to homeostasis. When the whole country came to stand still, there was a serious threat to the security, to the fragile democracy of our country. You saw when they came to power, they went after people who had tenure positions in this country. People were arbitrarily dismissed from tenure positions. When they came to power, civil servants at different land ministries and agencies were targeted because of their political persuasions. When they came to power, they arrogated upon the state security apparatus extrajudicial power, aside from their statutory functions and statutory responsibility. Law enforcement agencies departed, aberrated from their own statutory functions, and they begin to wear garments that the days of ATU, the days of Malaysia. And you saw how the state security, particularly the security apparatus in the country, has been very brutal, very ruthless, inflicting wounds and casualties. And evidence to that is the State Department report that has been provided. So the government has not been able to actually answer the question.
The government boasts about making roads pliable during the rainy season. People can now go from here to the southeast better than it used to be. They boast about improvement in electricity in the fire service, even in the NTA that was near moribund during your time. So clearly, there is some improvement in areas that you did not do well in.
Well, I don't know what's the statistics, what the evidence, and what's the empirical facts when it comes to building roads, Julius, across the country. Building roads, he said that. Where are the roads? Where are the roads? When we talk about roads, we're talking about pliable roads. We're talking about roads, we're talking about durable roads. We are not talking about regime rules or political rules. So in terms of roads, what is the difference between durable rules and regime or political rules? Cosmetic rules that are just intended to score political points, to bamboozle the people into believing, like the way they lied to the people that they were bringing 285 yellow machines, and they paraded a political petition as into pageantry, misleading the Liberian people that we already have the money being provided for 285 yellow machines. Where are the yellow machines? Where are the yellow machines? So I have not seen clear road that will connect farm to market road, agricultural road. I'm not seeing road that stretching across the country. There have been no new road built or constructed under this administration. And I want to challenge the Ministry of Public Works to provide evidence, empirical evidence, incontrovertible and irrefutable evidence that there are new rules. I'm not talking about political rules, but I'm talking about regime rules, but new rules constructed, built.
But those rules are helping citizens to go across.
I'm saying rules, serious rules that are supposed to connect our people from this. I'm talking real rules in terms of road that's supposed to connect our people from one country to another country. And I'm talking.
What are you talking about? Because people are traveling from here to America better than they used to do during the rainy season. Then sometimes people pass through Africa because of the bad state of the roads.
Julius,
during your time,
Julius, in this time and age, I don't want you to fall or reduce road connectivity and road construction to the Unity Party's interpretation of building rules. So what
do you want? Paved roads?
Paved roads.
But right now, we do not have the finances to pave all of the roads in the country. So the best bet is to maintain the existing ones, right?
Julius, when a government comes to power, it implements policy based on tangible. So when you go and grade a road, that's not building road. Building road means you have built roads that have never existed to a standard level where you have basic commercial activities. I mean, with the market forces interacting and normal businesses are going on, and people know. But for example, the Rural International Road that we started, that we were building on our administration, you could see that the roads were clearly deployed. The road was deployed. It was never pliable in terms of. While we went there, when we went on that road, you saw the mark, you saw the indelible imprint, you saw the project, you saw that something passed here. We're not talking about somebody going using machine to cover mud and you come and say it was not like this. No, we're talking about road in a sense, they're putting quota on road. And putting quota, building new road and ensuring that you connect roads, you connect bridges, and you show that our people are connected from
by talking, because our next guest is also here. We have to take a few calls, but before we take calls, two points. One, beyond what you've said about the government so far, are there other things that you think they aren't doing well? The supporters of the government believe they are doing quite well, better than your government.
Now, if you go back to the very supporters of the government, if you ask them and they are disappointed, they never elected a government to run after motorcyclists. They never elected a government to undermine and circumvent the smooth operation of the first branch of government. They never elected the government to go to the Supreme Court and try to bastardize the laws and to circumvent the laws on the book for parochial interests and personal aggrandizement. They never elected a government to institutionalize military junta style of policing and janjaweed or malicious form of law enforcement. They never elected such a government that goes to get man, for example, and brutalize people and kill people. They never elected a government that does not have any workable functional panacea in terms of ameliorating the already deteriorating socially, economically backward system that is leading to the rise in prices of different commodities across the land of this country. That was not the government elected. They never elected a government where when schools are open, Julius, go across different schools now. I mean, literally most schools are experiencing a low turnout in terms of registration because parents are entangled within the conundrum of economic destitution. They are in a state of economic dilemma, the situational dilemma. The government has created no employment opportunities for them all across the country. It's happening
but if you know this, rather than being somewhat understanding, somewhat compassionate about these people, you started to label them as regime puppets, rescue puppets. You started to call them miscreants. You call them apologists and surrogates and all of that, like trying to make fun of their situation.
Yeah, so those are people, like I said in my previous expose, those are people that pontificated, they overly ostentated about being the newest political Pharisees. They begin the so-called newest political sophists and the false aristocrats. They came to power with false consciousness. They paraded themselves that they have the workable functional panacea. They have the solution to Liberia's problem. They went as far as attempting to circumvent the peace and security of our country. They were the one who paraded that Mr. Waka, the current president of the country, had 42 years of experience in government. He had all of the technocrats. As they come to power, they would have shifted the paradigm from the place they took it from the CDC, and they would have brought prosperity and economic paradise to the Liberian people. They would have taken the Liberian people to economic paradise. So we describe them because the evidence shows that they are like I said, tabula rasa. They're a bunch of tabula rasa. They have no idea about governance. The sad truth is that the sad reality is that the guys are political neophytes. They are clueless about what's happening in the states, what happened in the governance system of our country. When in the world you tell civil servants you go call beer, for example, that's why I describe the last time as beerless government, because you're telling all your civil servants to call beer. Is that policy? You're going after churches to pay, wanting churches, the mosques to go and register.
The government debunked.
Yeah, if the government was broke, they don't have no resource and mobilization strategy to harness to get finances to respond to the different functionaries of
government.
Finally,
in 1 minute, your party was ousted from your headquarters for whatever reason that was, and you still chose to go there after the police, the UNO had cleared the place of and evicted you. Why did you want to go back there? That was looking for trouble. You went there and calling press conferences and doing all kinds of stuff.
Julius, we never had the time to have said farewell or go back to the site. That place is not just an ordinary place for the CDC. You know, the CDC has spent 20 years, right, over that terrain. Now, what we did over there, we went there to pay last homage to martyr brothers and sisters who, at the consequence of the same reckless posturing of the Unity Party government, lost their lives brutally. Some were murdered on November 7, 2011. You know the story of the bloody Monday that happened on the CDC Party headquarters. So it was fair enough morally to pay last homage to martyr brothers and sisters who died in defense of the Popular People Liberation Movement, in defense of the supremacy of the Indomitable Martyr Coalition for Democratic Change. It was on that inclination. That we went there to say farewell to that party headquarters. But listen to this. Who are those people that are making the argument and questioning us why we went there? Why they did not ask the president of the country for reburying remnants of the Chui Party and people who were responsible for the bitter past and the dark history of Liberia, 14 years of brutal and devastating civil crisis? Why they never questioned Mr. Waka, Joseph Waka, the president of the country, for reburying William Aratoba? William Aratoba represented a system of government that led this country for 133 years. And you go and use taxpayer monies and you use our resources and rebury him, and you use our resources to bury such a man that killed and murdered militants of Moja, the movement of justice in Africa, right here on Center Street, so that sentient memories. They were beaten, they were killed, and they were thrown into mass graves. Why you rebury such a man who participated into the 250,000 bloodletting of our people? So those who raising argument do not have the moral equivalent to question us, because if you want to question us why we went to the side, and you are not questioning you're not questioning the last mafia of the old order, the Chui Party remnants in the Unity Party. Why are they rewarding reburial ceremony to reminisce on the Chewy party winning our Tobo and questioning us why we went to our party headquarters to pay homage. I think it is intellectually dishonest. It is
let's take few calls.
It is politically unfair to our people.
Let's take a few calls. We'll also upload this interview to YouTube. 777-700-995, 555-995-995. Let's take Noah Gibson quickly. Noah, welcome in 1 minute.
Julius, I call for only one reason. I did not call anyway for the public. This is Noah Zau Gibson. I did not call to respond to all of what he has said, that we haven't built any new roads, we haven't done this, we haven't done that. I just call for the kind of contradiction I'm hearing. The masses that you claim you're speaking for, with all of those misplaced terminology that you're using, which of course some of them the root causes they're not even well placed. Do you think they understand what you have said? You said nothing, because the very common people you're speaking for, they are not the kind of class with no due respect to them. Even
but it said the common people that told you that they didn't understand him.
So, Julius, the common people don't have to tell me that they don't understand him. We know the society we're dealing with.
Okay.
We know the kind of society. He claimed that he comes from the masses.
Thanks. So kindly we hold you that we just have few calls to take. Welcome. Let's hear you.
Yeah, Patrick. So,
go ahead, Patrick.
So his argument is that because of the society, we should not speak the way we speak. But Julius, psycholinguistically speaking, Wesseh is a decent brother. Wesseh is brilliant. He came on the University of Liberia's campus prepared. I can remember 2008 or 9. I was under the Parava Hut welcoming new students. And Wesseh raised his hand as a new student just to introduce himself. The whole Parava Hut was on fire. And like a brother who spoke, I don't believe him. The problem is we don't read, some of us. We are lazy Liberians, some of us. People that read, when they're speaking, words can come out spontaneously. Now the word spontaneous is actually spontaneous. I took the spot from there, I added X, I call it spontaneously. People that speak like we said, when they're speaking, you tell that they can control, they are confident, they understand the etymological, historical typology, and phenomenological perspective of voice.
Okay.
So Wesseh is a brilliant brother.
Okay, thanks so kindly. Welcome. Let's hear you quickly. Yes, go ahead. Let's hear you.
Yeah, thank you. Patrick should not.
No, my man, Toyo, how y'all be responding to other people? Toyo,
No, Julius, Patrick tried to denigrate Noah just now. You did not talk
by saying what denigrate? No, thank you. He did not do that. Welcome. Let's hear you. What's the name? What you call it? Yeah,
thank you, Julius. Pay attention to serious people.
No, hey, okay, see you too. You'll not be talking to other people, Jerry. Why you call serious people? Welcome. Let's hear you.
Hello.
Yes, go ahead quickly.
Julius. I'm Toby Moba. I come from Baptist Seminary. Comrade Alvin Wesseh, he did not really enroll at the university 2008 and 9. The Patiswa is saying we all enrolled at the around 2011 and 12. So let that be clear, because he knows it clear completely. No, let's go to the point. Where Alvin Wesseh, where were Alvin Wesseh when their regime were selling drugs all in the street?
But you said the regime was doing what?
They are doing their regime. Drugs men sold on Kerry Street. $100.
No, did you say hello? Did you say it is the regime that was selling drugs?
During their regime, drugs men sold on Kerry Street, $100.
Oh, and so now that there's no drug being sold on Kerry Street.
I'm saying during their regime they never had control.
Oh, so now.
Control as compared to the way Joseph Nima Pwaga government is working.
Okay.
Joseph Nima Pwaga government is running after drugs and grow those who bring in drugs in the country. But I mean, we said one day he never spoke against it.
Okay, thanks so kindly. Let's take the final one. Welcome. Let's hear you.
Yeah, good day, Julius. Good day to my brother in studio, Alvin Wesseh and Idris Belete. Well, thank you for the opportunity. Alvin has spoken well and he's on top of the issues. I like the part that he says that he did not utilize his position as assistant minister to go and use public resources to establish his own fine. That is patriotism. And the issue of roads, he talked about the CDC government building sustainable roads. You know, Julius, there are types of road. They have political roads, sustainable road, and regime road. That's why we were trying to drive at. And during our CDC administration, we built sustainable roads. You saw the Babangida Highway. That road is a sustainable road. You see, there are roads that were built by Unity Party government. Before the government could elapse, man, all the roads were done. Those are political roads. They were meant for just for the politics. They were meant to gain votes. But the CDC was not looking at that. We were more concerned about the people movement. We were more concerned about commuting people from one place to the other.
Okay.
We were concerned about from the market roads.
Thanks so kindly. We'll hold you there. Let's go back to him for 1 minute, Alvin. Quickly, our next guest has to come in.
Yeah, so let me appreciate the callers and to you, Julius, for affording me the opportunity to speak to our people through this medium. And I'd like to appreciate everyone for the most heralded support across the country. The issue that has to do with the video that is trending, the velocity and the alacrity to which the Liberian people have gravitated towards the message. I think it has resonated very well. I want to state that clearly, Julius, in my conclusion, that Liberia 2029, I made this statement somebody tried to make construing. I want to re-accentuate and re-emphasize on this matter. On this issue about my statement, 2029, Liberians will not settle for Unity Party to steal elections and to impose herself.
Did they say they will steal election?
That is the intelligence that we've gotten from the angle of our sources within the bailiwick of the Unity Party cabinet. They have made those claims on ground that our political leader is a leader of peace, and they will use the military, they will use the police, as it has been done, to illegally evict the CDC party to put strength and to exercise.
Those are 2029 is very far. Those are things that people just say.
Yeah.
But thanks so kindly for being here, Alvin. Yeah, we don't have enough time.
Yeah, just wanted to.
No, the time finished. Thank you.
Let me just conclude.
But you already concluded.
I'll conclude when you came in.
30 seconds.
30 seconds. So I want to say this and sound it as a caveat. If anybody is thinking and concentrating to steal elections, there will be a potential political conflict in the country.
Well,
we will not give one party.
We don't think anyone is thinking.
We will not give one party 24 years, 12 years on Ellen, 6 years, 18 years, 2029 cannot be 24 years for the Unity Party. The cities will rise and rally, and inevitably George will come to the presidency.
Thanks so kindly. Alvin Wesseh, 2029 is far. Let's take a very quick break here.